All right, let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Kinslinger. Jurza.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Osterloo.
Here.
Kenny. Schmitz.
Here.
Sonny.
Here.
Dozier. We have quorum.
Thank you. There's been an agenda, proposed agenda sent out to you or by electronically. Does anybody see anything on it that they need to declare a conflict of interest for? Hearing none, let's move on to that agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve it as presented?
Second.
Moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, we are ready for a roll call vote. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the processes, our procedures here, one of our members is attending telephonically. Therefore, we have to do every vote by roll call. Mark, it's your turn.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Schmitz.
Yes.
Sonny.
Yes.
Jurza.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The blanket for the next meeting should be August 28th at noon. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Previous minutes versus Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is. I skipped a line. My glasses need to be adjusted. Previous minutes of previous meeting were provided in the packet of information. Does anyone see a need for an addition or correction?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the minutes be approved as presented. Discussion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
No.
Oh, excuse me, roll call. I just said we have to do roll call every time.
Schmitz. Yes. Sonny.
Yes.
Jurza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, now we're ready to talk about scheduling the next meeting for August 28th. Do I hear a motion to approve the
Set the
blanket?
date. Second.
Moved and seconded that the blanket for August 28th be approved. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark, your turn.
Sonny.
Yes.
Jurza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Schmitz. Yes. Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next item on the agenda is a variance permit. Rodney and Marty Diner have applied for a variance permit for a side yard corner setback versus 8 inches versus 20 feet to rebuild a garage at the same place that was struck by a vehicle and had to be demolished. It's located at 401 South Wisconsin Street, legally described as Lot 1, Block 20, Railroad Edition, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is zoned R2 Single Family Residential District. Looks like he's planning to put it back on the same slab and a little longer and a little bit wider. Is that what I'm seeing?
Their garage was struck by a vehicle, so they had to demo it down due to structural issues with it. Letters were sent out to neighbors, published in the paper, signs posted. There were 4 responses in your packet that were all in favor. Since I put the packet out, I've received 6 more responses that are in favor of it. None of them had any comments on it, so that's why I didn't print them off for any of you. The existing was 18 feet by 29 feet. The new one's going to be 24 feet wide by 28 feet. They're going to make sure that it's the 3 foot from the alley side, so actually shift it just a little bit to the east there to come in compliance with that portion of it. But yeah, they want to use the existing slab for that garage. I believe the applicants are here. If you have any questions for them, or I can answer any questions as well.
Anybody got any questions for Mark? Owners here?
Yep.
Got anything more to add to what has been presented to us?
No, just just want the approval or whatever, just want to know what we can do is all.
All right? And it was existing there for a long time prior to it being struck, is that not
Yeah,
correct?
I lived there 20 years and it's been there since I've gotten there. so.
Okay. It was probably built before zoning ordinances were in effect. Any questions from the members? Any comments from the audience? Hearing none, we are ready for a motion. So moved.
Here's a second.
Moved and seconded that the variance be granted. I guess we have to recommend that to the council.
Yep.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark?
Osterloo,
Yes.
Schmitz. Yes. Sonny,
Yes.
Jurza,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, a conditional use permit for Brandy Brower. Bradley Brower, excuse me. He has applied for a conditional use permit to operate a home occupation gun repair shop located at 189 South Harmon Drive, legally described as Lot 95, Indian Head Edition, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is Zone RL, Residential Lake District. Anybody here to talk to us about that?
I'll get us started with it. Notices were sent out to neighbors, published in the paper, signs posted. There were 3 responses in favor that made the packet, 2 that did not, but didn't have any comment on it as well, so I didn't print those off for you. Applicant just came in and said they'd like to start doing a gun repair shop there, and they'll need an FFL, which would go through the state, which would not come from our board at all. So there might be some transfers coming in and out, but he's going to do some repair work as well, so that's what brings it to the home occupation portion of it. Applicants here, if you have any questions for him as well.
And I'm sure if he's got to have an FFL, he's got to have the right zoning for getting one of those.
Yes.
If you got any comments, please come to the podium and tell us about it.
Well, it's basically, I'm retired. It's not going to be a hobby business. Actually, it'll be mostly over the internet where I'll buy and then restore and resell guns. That's basically the business model. And like you said, in order to get an FFL, I'm going to have to show that everything's kosher, so.
And I assume you're Mr. Bauer, right?
Yep.
Questions for the gentleman?
You plan to display any guns?
No, there won't be, it won't be any kind of a retail location. There really won't be an inventory per se, or maybe a few, but again, internet-based. I don't know if you guys have ever used GunBroker or any of those online deals, but
No parking issues when customers come or anything like that?
I really don't think there'll be many customers coming. You know, that's not really the business model.
Okay. Anybody else got any comments? Okay, folks, what's your pleasure?
This is yours. I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved and seconded that we approve the conditional use permit. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume we're ready to vote. Mark, your turn.
Schmitz,
Yes.
Sonny,
Yes.
Jurza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item on the agenda. Randy Wittstruck at 1201 South Rowley Street is requesting the following property legally described as lots 1 and 2 of Block 24, University Edition, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, be changed from R3 Medium Density Residential District to Highway Business District, and the official zoning map be changed to reflect the same. Mark, talk to us about this one, will you please?
So applicant came in for this, signs been posted, neighbors notified, it's published in the paper. There was one response that was opposed that made the packet, one in favor that did not make the packet. There was also one opposed that I copied and put in front of all of you that was against it as well. Larry, I emailed this to you this morning with that comment on there. The applicant came in to request a building permit for an existing building. At the time, the building's a legal non-conforming use and can't have an addition built onto it. This building used to be a tire business and has been storage for quite some time. The applicant has said he'd like to have it as a motorcycle museum, which falls under indoor recreational facility. A conditional use permit is only allowed for existing buildings within R3, so the addition portion would also make it non-conforming. Non-conforming uses can only get building permits for permitted uses. HB allows indoor recreation facilities as a permitted use. If the council does approve the change and a building permit can be approved, it'll still be brought in front of this board for an addition because it is highway business. So we'd have to see a site layout and business layout for any of that portion of the first zoning ordinance as well. I can answer any questions you have for me. The applicant is also here if you have any questions for him. It is considered spot zoning because there's nothing that is contiguous to HB right there. It's R2 and R3 around there. Our comprehensive plan does show that as a mixed use facility. R3 does allow some other uses just besides residential as well. I can answer anything else you may have.
Okay. Owner, are you here? Talk to us.
Well, right now, I just need the storage. I've got 400 motorcycles, and after a while, I just want to make a free museum for people just to look at them. That's pretty much what I'm going to do with it. I poured a bunch of concrete around it and been fixing it up, but I'd like to have an addition on it if I can. That's pretty much it.
Questions?
Will the museum be staffed?
No, it's just going to be me.
So then there's just parking on the streets then?
Well, no, there's actually, we're going to build on, it's going to be built back, so there's going to be 2, 4, and I got the whole half a block for parking. There's probably 11 to 12 places to park on there. And I'll never have that many people there.
What's in the building right now?
Well, pretty much I got motorcycles in it.
Okay. So basically, you're using storage right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Questions? Anybody from the audience got a comment to make before we have to take a motion on this? If so, please come to the podium, state who you are, and talk to us.
I'm Ann Crothers, I'm a neighbor, I live kitty corner from you. I'm just wondering how it would affect property values or property taxes for neighbors.
We can't answer that question for you, I'm afraid.
Okay. And how much traffic would you expect to have, do you know? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Jay, this is Jerza. When was that building built? 1945?
The owner says approximately 1925.
25, okay. Yeah, I knew it had been there for a long time.
Anything else from the committee? Any,
Mark, why is the zoning change required?
Because there's not a conditional use or permitted use for that building in R3 anymore. whether it was a commercially zoned property many years ago or the building obviously was built before zoning. So anything that was going on kept getting grandfathered in because they kept using that building as such. The storage that's been used for the past so many years would still be grandfathered in at this time, but switching it over to the museum portion of it, which is the indoor recreational facility per definition, changes the use of it. And that's where it alters that portion of it. And because it's the legal non-conforming, you couldn't do the addition. If there was no addition on the side of it, you could apply for the conditional use and be approved or not approved in the existing building, just no addition.
But there is an addition to the,
To the west, there has been one, and I don't know when that addition was done, but that's been done a long time ago.
long time ago, well, as well.
John, what kind of code issues coming before you then with
I don't think, you'd have to get, if he's working on commercial trucks in there, then he's strict, but he's not gonna do that. And it's roofing, door ain't big enough to get anybody in there anyway. If he'd come in proximity close enough to that south property line, there would be no penetrations, no doors or windows. And a 2-hour rating on that side would be really my only requirement. And Mark's kind of got it right. Our zoning it's a niche spot and it doesn't really allow for him to do a lot. Maybe a little homework before he bought it would have helped him, but, and if he adds on to it, it's gonna be a tax revenue generator. We know that, it's gonna be worth more money. On the other hand, if Mr. Wistruck would have just kept it as a garage and just have some buddies come in and talk motorcycles 3 times a week, he could have all the people there he wants, and we couldn't do nothing about it. Then the other token is if we had a spot in our zoning where we would have a conditional use for an R3, then that allows us more control. We can put restrictions on him and kind of hold him to it. But we don't have that. We're not changing the zoning. Once you do the zoning, then he can kind of do what he wants. But everything that he's done so far, the properties, they've kept them up. They look nice. They've done what we've asked. Everything's new and clean, kept up, mowed. It's half does one, 6 the other all the way around this thing.
So as far as the public occupation of, people going to that facility then, that's a museum, what code implications would that have?
Probably have to have public restroom in there, so many exits per square foot, things like that.
Yeah, you may have to, we got a museum right down the road with the Ag Museum there by DW. And there's no parking up there, it's in the street mostly. You may have to have, if he advertised as a public for-charge museum, if it's a free museum and it's private, I'd have to look more in the code than that. If it's a change of use, you may have to have an architect look over it and give his opinion on it. And if it's the allowable areas over the exemption limit for the state, that's a state law, that's not us. He has to answer to the state board of technical professionals at that point, not me.
And all
Then he
of
has to come to me for construction.
And all of that would come along with an approval to rezone.
Right.
That would all come along with approval for the building permit portion of it at that time.
Yeah, right.
I said, that's not,
Permit until it's rezoned.
yep, that's not,
Correct, yeah.
it's correct. That's not the city of Mitchell, it's not our building code. He's got to meet that criteria and scope for the South Dakota Board of Technical Professionals first, and then he can come to us with what he has shown, and we'll write it from there.
Well, when I first moved to Mitchell many, many years ago, my brother-in-law ran a gas station, a service station. And that used to be a tire warehouse. You got a lot of tires through that warehouse that was there at that time. That's back in early 1970s.
I think it was a tire warehouse right up till the last use here a couple months ago, and that's what it was used for.
Yes. Yep. Personally, I don't like the idea of spot zoning. We have been, as a board, opposed to that for a number of years. Is it possible, Mark, to take a look at the code for R3 and maybe do some amending there? Would that be an easier solution?
I don't think that'd be a better solution for this at all.
Okay,
I mean, R3 does allow a museum in there for an existing building with a conditional use. So it's whether you can add on or not would be why you would need to rezone or not.
Where would you add on?
To the,
South?
To the south, right?
to the south, you go south. That's the only place you really have room.
right, yeah.
And technically, these decisions then would be in the correct order. When you say a permit would obviously be required,
Mhm.
but no permit can be filed until it's rezoned.
Correct.
Or it meets whatever our zoning would require it to meet. Whether, for some reason, if we have, if it said you could have R3 expanded, then we could do that, but it's not in our books.
Well, if the conditional use, he could do for a museum, the only thing is no addition. But again, then we wouldn't have to spot zone. So he still could use it, but he would set out the addition. So maybe you don't put in a few more motorcycles.
And obviously, if you got a collection of motorcycles in there that's worth any money, I'd say Mr. Wistrick's trying to keep that roof and keep the building good repair, because he sure doesn't want them dripping water on them.
Okay. Is there further discussion before this board at this time? Hearing none, I assume we are ready to make a motion. Mark, remind us about the best motion to make here, please.
Best motion to make would be a motion in the positive, and then go either way from there.
Well, I'm not in favor of it, but I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second.
All right, it's been made, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the rezone. Discussion on that motion. Hearing none? Your turn, Mark.
Osterloo.
No.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Sonny.
No.
Jerza.
No.
Larson.
No.
This will go in front of council for 2 meetings, for a first reading and a second reading on that, so.
And I'm sure our council representative will take our thoughts. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next item. Plat of lots 8A and 8B of Block 6, Woodlands Heights, First Edition, a subdivision of Lot 3, Cranes Edition, in the southeast quarter of Section 34 P103N, R60W of the 5th parallel meridian, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by Ethan Co-op Lumber. Looks like they're gonna sell a couple more lots out there.
Yeah, they came in to get a building permit. By parent parcel, they could put the twin home in, and now they're just separating that out from the parent parcel.
Okay, we understand what's going on there. Discussion? Questions? Comments from the audience? Let's go with motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved and seconded that we approve the replat of lots 8A and late 8B of Block 6, Woodland Heights, First Edition. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. Mark?
Schmidt.
Yes.
Sonny.
Yes.
Jerza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Is there any other business to come before this body at this time?
The South Dakota Planners Conference, I know Jay and Kevin are gonna go. Anybody else? You wanna go?
Yep. Remind me of the dates, that's in there, October?
Yep, October 24th is a social gathering in the evening. But if the conference really starts on Wednesday, the 25th, it's a half day on Thursday, 26th.
When's the latest you have to know?
Another month maybe.
And
They
it's
haven't
here-
sent out notices saying,
And it's here in Mitchell.
and it's here in Mitchell, yeah. I'll send this, the agenda out again, just so you guys can see that.
Okay, if there's no other business to come before this body at this time, public input. If you need to address the board on an item that was not on the agenda excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. As I see no one approaching the podium, this meeting is adjourned.